Coming up on this episode of the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up, we'll have a look back at the goals at Carrow Road in that win against Norwich City, and our very special guest ahead of the visit of Stoke City is the legend Ricardo Fuller. All that and so much more on the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up. Hello and a warm welcome to this episode. Let's start with a look back to last weekend and that fantastic win at Carrow Road against the Canaries.
It is picked up by the youngster in the midfield, Gibbs, for Norwich City. He looks to slide it forward. Whiteman slides to intercept, but now it comes back to Sargent. Sargent finds the back of the net. Inside 2 minutes, Preston North End's defence is breached. Josh Sargent very much in the attack alongside Teemu Pukki, and Sargent's in once more here, presented to him by Lindsay. And in the end, it's Freddie Woodman who's able to get his body behind it. As the ball is fed through by Gibbs, looking for Pukki, chips it wide of Woodman and wide of the post as well. Brown and Brady linking down the right. Brown drags it away from McLean, sends it back to the right. Brady's got away from Byram, sends it across towards the far post. Rees with a header, and North End back in it. Emil Rees, the man once more to find the back of the net for Preston North End. Sargent looks to link with Ramsey. Ramsey drops his shoulder and goes round Lindsay, cuts it back to the edge of the penalty area, where Ali McCann is able to deal with it. His clearance is controlled well by Jordan Story. Story plays it out to Alan Brown, who looked to clear it off his left foot, and as he did so, Sam Byram came down with his studs raised there, and it will be the first yellow card of the afternoon. Fernandez now tries to get through a gap left by two at the back for Norwich. 3-on-2 in favour of North End. Fernandez for Rees! Rees gets his second and puts North End ahead. A clinical counter finished off by Emil Rees. The away end erupts. Cross comes from the left-hand side. Not once but twice. McLean tries to send it in. Sargent then wraps it goalwards. Woodman stands tall and deals with it expertly well. North End having to dig in here. Having come from behind, North End know they've got work to do if they're going to see the 3 points back to Lancashire. Hanley with a mix-up there. Parrott shoots first time. Poured down by Krul, and in the end, Hanley heads it behind for a corner. Hanley, though, able to win it back. Plays a 1-2 as he comes forward, now looks for Pukki. Pukki in the box, tries to get away from Brown. Left-footed, sends it across goal, and Norwich equalise. Gabriel Sara, the man to get Norwich back on terms. Whiteman out to the left to Woodburn, overlapping run from Hughes, not used. Parra sends it across goal, it's in! Preston North End are back ahead! Troy Parrott looked to send it across goal, and Liam Gibbs, the man who got the touch to send it past Tim Krul at the near post. Sinani left-footed towards the far post, comes off the head of Whiteman, struck goalwards. Great save by Freddie Woodman. Norwich take it back though with Hernandez. Hernandez charging down the right hand side, comes infield, gives it to Pukki on the edge of the box. Pukki to McLean. McLean left footed, drills it goalwards! It's a free kick to Preston North End. The referee has seen something he doesn't like.
Right, let's start to look forward now, because it's Stoke City visiting Deepdale this weekend, and we like to have a chat, if we can, with a player who's played for both teams. So who better than our old friend of the show, Ricardo Fuller. If you remember, the last time we saw him was just outside this window. He was here studying for his UEFA B coaching licence. Tick, he's got that now, so we thought we'd have a catch up with him about how that went and what he's up to now.
Actually, it went brilliant. I think it's about 4 months ago or 5 months ago I've completed that. I did my presentation at St George's Park with Ian Sankey, because Sanks was was one of my tutors. So I had Ian Sankey, Brian Burrows, Chris Fairclough, and I had Steve Crinnan when I started the B. So I did my presentation in St. George's Park and I aced it. So I've completed that, and I'm so happy. I'm over the moon about completing the B, because once I start something, I like to finish it top with top marks. So I did that, and I'm just looking forward to starting now with a new initiative, the professional player to coach scheme. So I did the induction at Lake District about 2-3 weekends ago for 4 nights, and it was brilliant. So looking to start with the club now, doing the work on the grass throughout the academy at Stoke City Football Club.
So when this game comes around, it's Preston North End against Stoke City this weekend. When that comes around, given that you have played for both teams, how does it make you feel when this game happens?
Well, to be fair, I feel honoured and I feel special and privileged as well, because these two teams, Preston North End before Stoke City, is a massive part of my history. As I said, it's a massive honour to play for a club with so much history. I think Preston and Stoke have been in the first 2 ever clubs that started the league, aren't they? So, as I said, I'm a massive part of the history, and it's a significant part of my development and my history. So, absolutely feels special.
And your second game at Deepdale was against Stoke City. Do you remember much about that one? A 4-3 win?
Yeah, I think I scored again. I'm sure I remember scoring. I remember for sure. I don't remember results, but I always remember the goals because I try to remember as much goals as I can.
Well, David Healy scored the first 2.
Yes.
And then you scored, and then it ended up 3-3, I think. And then Cressy scored. They equalised right at the end, and then Cressy went up. But your goal around the arm, it was a decent goal for your first goal at Deepdale.
Yes, and Cressy as well followed me onto the Britannia Stadium as well. So yes, we have a massive history with the 2 clubs. But yeah, as I said, Simon, I've always tried to score in every single game that I can. Obviously, I didn't achieve that, but the aim is to always take every single game as it comes and try to do the best of your ability, and that's what I did.
I know you, as you said, that you try and remember most of your goals. You could probably describe most of them in minutiae detail as well. Do you have a favourite match, favourite goals maybe in your time at North End at least?
Well, obviously the favourite game would be against Burnley, where I scored a hat-trick again. And the second one would be against Leicester, when I dribbled past Matt Elliott and
pretty much everyone.
Jerry Taggart. There were 2 defenders that represented their country, international players. I was just a young boy trying to make a win in the game, and against Ian Walker as well, who was in goal, another England international. And the way how I scored those 2 goals was just different class, and it gave me even more confidence that I could go on and play in the top league. At the time, we were in Division 1, and as a player playing in Division 1, you always want to be representing yourself and the club that you play for in the top tier, which would be the Premier League. So for me, performing in those 2 games, I knew that I had the ability and the talent to do well in the Premier League.
That Leicester City goal, you pretty much started on the halfway line, didn't you? Then picked it up and then off you went.
Absolutely. And the way I put it past Ian Walker, as if it was just nothing. I mean, you can score a goal like that against a top keeper like that. That tells you that, this player had something, and I could represent well. For myself and for my club in the top tier. And as I said, any player playing in the lower league, your ambition is to play in the top tier and to be the best player that you can be and score as much goals as you can score. That's the ambition that I had.
The Burnley hat-trick that you scored, which I think, I know whenever you've been to Deepdale, everybody mentions it, don't they, in terms of there was a 5-3 match and you scoring the hat-trick. It was a great game. Did you get the ball?
Yes, I still have it now. It's in my little trophy cabinet.
Did it mean a lot to
all
you?
All the players who signed it as well. Yeah, every player. Yeah, absolutely, meant a lot. Simon, scoring a hat-trick in any game, whether it be a conference, a League 2, a League 1, a Championship, a Premier League, a Champions League for your country, it means a lot. You see Holland scoring the hat-trick. You see how it means a lot to him Foden the other night. It means a lot to them. So scoring a hat-trick is no easy feat, because scoring a goal is one of the hardest things to do on the football field. So if you can score 3 in one game, it's different class.
And you mentioned there about knowing probably around that time that you were good enough to play at the top flight. Am I right in thinking that Liverpool came for you?
First season, I think I was on 8 goals in, 17 games or 16 games? And I never forget the date, the 30th of November, we played Coventry. I went up for the ball, flicked it on, and Konjic, that big Eastern European defender, whacked me in the back of the head. I was unconscious in the air and landed. My body went one way, my legs went one way, ruptured my ACL. I was gutted because Gerard Houllier had put in a $6 million offer for me, and I would have been gone by January. So that was my claim to fame for Liverpool.
So near.
But yeah, it's part and part of the game. But yeah, I was gutted. But yeah, that was Gerard Houllier coming in for me. All went up into smoke then. Me tore my ACL.
Because we didn't see you for a while after that, did we? Is it fair to say that we maybe didn't see? Well, I don't know. Do you think if you hadn't had that, I know you went off and played in the Premier League eventually anyway, but did at Preston North End, I mean, 1 in 2 you scored at Preston North End, which is fantastic for anyone, isn't it? Did we maybe not see the best of you because of that knee injury, or did you come back stronger because of it? How did you look at it?
I've always came back stronger with every injury that I had and all the setbacks that I had, whether through injuries or red cards or whatever it was. I've always come back a stronger player. As you can see, this next season, I had 19 goals in the league, 21 in all competitions. So that shows you that those things always make me stronger, because of my mentality, my culture, how I grew up in Jamaica. I grew up rough. I grew up never had anything. I never had football shoes. I used to play football barefooted, whereas the grass is on the street, or the dirt ball where it's on the gravel. So if you fall, you have to picking up pebbles out of your skin. So I grew up that type of player, that type of kid. So I always had that fighting spirit and that never die, never say never attitude of coming back stronger, whatever the disappointment was or the setback was. So it only made me stronger. As you see, I go on to represent well for other clubs. Every club that I've been to, I've always been a success. No, regardless of, I would never pass the medical, or I've always had injuries. I've made that name. As they say, I've always had injuries, I never passed the medical, but yet still I trained every day, unless I was ill, or or I was suspended or something. I trained every day, and I've managed to play so many games. So that tells the story of how successful I am. Because success is measured in different ways. You can measure success like that, a player who had nothing, who ended up having so many things, and because of the fight that he had, regardless of whatever the fight is, but come back and achieve so much from it. Rather than a player with so many great players around him, achieving so much. So success is measured in all kinds of ways. How I look at it is a success. I had a massive success because of where I came from.
Second part of our chat with Ricardo coming up between now and the end of the episode. But first of all, let's revisit that game back in 2002 that we were speaking about there. His second game at Deepdale in a Preston North End shirt. He scored. Richard Cresswell, who was last episode's guest, don't forget to have a look on our YouTube channel later if you haven't seen it yet, scored a very, very late winner. So, Preston North End against Stoke City, 2002, 7 goals shared, run VT.
It's a wonderful break. No, it wasn't a penalty. It looked like a tackle, and it will be Clive Clark against Tepi Moylanen. And it's in. Tepi very nearly having it, and it will be taken again. Encroachment, says Mr. Franklin. Penalty's not taken. Tepi's ready now. Can he make it? Can't again. No, he's sending the wrong way. He went the right way, Tepi, but that's holding your nerve well, Clive Clark. Here's Alexander Edwards over the ball. In it comes. It's in! David Healy has got North End's equaliser. 10.5 minutes played. Well, you've got to say the Stoke defence has looked at 6s and 7s since 3 o'clock. Rankin does well. McKenna slides in. On for Fuller. Oh, it might fall for David Healy. It's 2-1. Healy scores his second of the game, his second of the season, and rather unwisely goes to the Stoke crowd. But no matter, 23 minutes on the clock, North End 2, Stoke 1. Fuller still going. Has he got it in? Yes, he has! Well, he's having a bit of a word with the referee, but it isn't a problem because Ricardo Fuller has scored his 3rd goal of the season. Dazzling skills. We played 14-15 minutes of the second half. North End 3, Stoke City 1. Ball is loose on the edge of the box. North End have to make sure they clear this one. Murdoch is having head tennis. And Atuhu has given the ball away needlessly. Clive Clark against Tepe. It's in again. And a very, very calmly taken penalty. And it's a sickening last-minute equaliser. North End do not pick up the men, and Stoke City have escaped with a draw. Well, a game that there's no way they should have been anywhere near taking anything out of. They've grabbed a last-minute equaliser, and North End failing once again to get the 3 points. It would seem, unless there's something dramatic to happen. The referee continues play. Here's Mark Rankin. No. Lucchetti's there, and here's Michael Keane. And Cresswell is not offside. Real chance for Richard Cresswell. Yes, he scored! And North End have victory in the final minute. Richard Cresswell waltzes round the goalkeeper, and there was a sting in the tail. Preston North End 4. Stoke City 3. Well, would you believe it? He timed his run to perfection.
Right, let's get into part 2 of our chat with Ricardo. We've already heard about his time spent at Preston North End, but how did he do at this weekend's visitors, Stoke City? What was his relationship like with the Potters?
It's massive love, as you can see. I settled in this area because, no disrespect to Hearts club before Preston. Hearts is a massive part of my history. Portsmouth, Southampton, because all those clubs have made me the person I am, arriving at Stoke. All the experience that I had. If it wasn't for those clubs, Stoke probably wouldn't have had the best of me, because I've learned a lot. Because I've been criticised a lot, and those criticism or those constructive critique has made me the person that I am, going to become a better player and a better person. Eventually Stoke got the best of me because of those things. So, as I said before, Preston and Stoke is a massive part of my history. Obviously, from factual point of view and from what the data suggests, playing for those two clubs. And I've had more years at Stoke, playing for Stoke and living here at Stoke in the area for over 16 years now, become a massive part of me. And that tells him the success that I had with the club on the football field, and obviously off the football field with the fans, with the area. The Stoke City became my home away from home.
I know Tony Pulis still talks warmly and fondly about your time there. And I've got friends who are Stoke City fans who talk about you a lot, but specifically a goal that was the goal of the season, I think, back in 2008 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And your journey back, shall we say, from your homeland to Stoke.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Pulis has been fantastic for me. Obviously, as I said before, when you have time with people, you get to know those people well. You know, just like history is just like experience is the greatest teacher you can ever have, because those are deeds that you have done that you obviously capitalize on them and learn from them. But you need the time. With Stoke and Mr. Pulis, I had 6 years. So eventually you get to understand me. You get to know what I'm like, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. He allowed me to be me because he understands who I was. And that's man management. As you can see it now with Klopp, with Guardiola, with how they treat their players. And those players in turns produce for them as managers. And Pulis is no different. You know, obviously the scale of players, the money that he spent is a lot different from what those two clubs can afford. But it's the same way he managed me as a person and as a player. In fact, I live right beside him here now at Stoke, where I'm living now. Obviously, he's not here now, but he showed me this house when it was building, in this development. So he was a massive part of me. And I said, when a manager knows his player, it's the best thing you can have, because he knows what box to tick for that player and what get that player going. And even when that player has overstepped the mark or, you know, did something wrong, he knows how to bring him back in line. And that's what you get when you got time to work with a player. 6 years worth of it. My time at Preston was 2 years and just a bit. You know, I never had the time to really mesh with players. Yes, I tried the best I can during that short stint. Portsmouth came in, and as I said, as a player playing in the lower division, you always want to try yourself in the top division, because that's ambition. You know, I would love to have get Stoke, Preston promoted, just as I did with Stoke on my second season. That was my aim. As I said, I always try to do the best I can every single time I play. If it's the short term, every single game I play, I like to score. If it's the long term, every single game I play, I like to win and get my team promoted. Preston wasn't different. It's just that I didn't have enough time.
Well, we'd have loved you to have got promoted and scored our first Premier League goal, which we're still waiting for. But you scored Stoke's first ever Premier League. That could have been us.
Yeah, I know. And away as well. I scored every single game that Stoke won away. I've scored in them. I play a massive part in them. So yeah, that's my ambition, Simon. I would have loved, as I said before, every single game I play, I like to score, and every single season I play, I like to score as many goals and to get my team promoted, because that's what I believe in. That's my ambition. I always want to play in the highest league I can and perform at the highest level and perform week in, week out, doing the best I can for myself, for my team, and for the whole, everybody that's associated with Preston and with Stoke City Football Club. I like to make my fans feel happy. Just like when I played most derbies, in fact, every derby I played in, I've always done well. If you look back on my history, when I was playing for Hearts, when I was playing for Portsmouth, for Southampton, when I was playing for Stoke, every single game I scored against Wolves, I could have scored against Birmingham, scored against Burnley, scored against Hibs, scored against not Portsmouth, not Preston, not South, but most derby game I've always scored for my team, to let my fans have the joy of saying, you know, I've done one over my arch enemy. That's how I believe, and that's how I think.
That's why you're in there. That's why you're in there.
That's the ambition I have. Just the person that I am. I'm very ambitious when it comes to my football. Very serious and very passionate about it, for sure.
Now, I know you go to Stoke City games because it's near to where you live. You like to take your little lad onto the matches as well. They had a big win against Sheffield United. And in terms, Phil Jagielka, who you played with, I think, historically as well.
I played against him. When I was at Preston, he was at Sheffield United. And when I'm at Stoke, he was at Everton. Against
him, not with him, of course. And Liam Delap, who got his first goal for them. Manchester City always tell me he's destined for big things, but there's a certain other fella scoring goals there at the moment that's sort of taking the attention. So how highly do you think, or what do you think Liam Delap could do, and what danger did he pose to us this weekend?
Well, I was at the game. As I said, I go to most of the home games with my son, because my son plays as well. So it's part of his development. I like to take him along. Yeah, Stoke did well compared to the game before that. We lost 4-0 against at home against Watford, which was pretty bad. I mean, the players know that. The manager said that already. But yeah, we bounced back at Burnley, and then the game last Saturday at the Bet 365 was a good performance from the team overall. The first probably 25 minutes wasn't so great. We eventually scored a goal, went one up, and as the history suggests, that when Stoke score first, we normally go on to win the game, and when we concede first, we normally go on to lose the game. So in terms of that, it was on point. So we ended up winning that game 3-1. Liam came on and scored. I thought when he came on, he was more of a threat than starting. I've seen him starting games. But don't forget, he's still a young kid. He's still haven't had a proper full season in the Championship. And you know, the Championship can be brutal, can be relentless. And for a young lad who's just learning his trade in terms of club football and in terms of playing week in, week out, 100 miles an hour, where so many contact has been allowed. And in the Premier League, you got much more protection, much more quality, and that Man City's got so much quality around him. No wonder he'll stand out. But no disrespect to the players at Stoke, he'll have to get used to that and learn as quickly as possible. As I said to you before, experience is the best teacher you can ever have. And all he has to do now is take every single game and learn quickly from it, learn what he needs to do, what he needs to do better, how he needs to be stronger, what moves he needs to make, where he needs to control the ball, where he needs to position himself. All those things he's got to take into consideration because, as I said, the Championship is brutal. You got Sheffield United, who's top of the league, who was playing well. Everybody expect them to have come at Stoke, especially what the results suggest before that, and get something from that game. But that's how brutal and relentless the Championship can be. Anybody can beat anybody, and we've seen that so many times. So Liam Delap has to learn as quickly as possible what works for him, and he's got to learn quickly how to work defenders out during the game of play. First 5 minutes, what runs to make, what should I do? After that, the next 10 minutes, I need to do this better. I need to make this runs. I need to move my left foot, I need to move my right foot. I need to be on this area. I need to make this decision. And all those things he has to put into his mind in quick succession to get more joy out of his game. But he looked better coming on than starting, which eventually that's how he got his goal in the game.
That's where I was getting confused before. You played with his dad, not with Phil Jagielka. You were teammates with Rory, weren't you?
Yeah, Rory Delap, yeah, his dad. In fact, Liam used to be in the players' lounge with my son. He was always in the players' lounge. So no doubt he gone on to be on his way to be a world-class player because he's got the ability and the attributes. Because he loved it. He was always coming in the players' lounge with his jersey on, him and his brother and his sister, and obviously Rory's wife. And I remember my son is only a little toddler then, so he was playing with him all the time. So he was a lovely kid, and he's no different. He's never changed. I've seen him a couple of months ago in Manchester, and he was a lovely kid. He came up respectful as ever, and that shows the quality of the lad and of his parents as well. He was humble, even though he was at Man City. The way he came up to me, it was a joy, and I obviously embraced him with a lot of love and respect for the kid.
Good. Just finally, then, I won't ask you in terms of any sort of predictions or who you're supporting this weekend because that's unfair. But what I will say, and I make no apologies because I know we've mentioned this story before, but in terms of when you came to Deepdale and I went across to pick you up and we walked around the perimeter of the pitch.
Yeah.
I've never, and I've told this story before, but every single corner of the ground, home fans and away fans were up. What did that mean to you? What did that mean?
Oh, everything. As I said to Simon, it's an honor, and it's an absolute privilege and an absolute pleasure, and I'm delighted that I have the opportunity to play for two great clubs, Preston North End before Stoke City, and the fans have always been great with me. Preston, Stoke. And that's why now, every opportunity I get in any charity appearances I can make for the fans, whenever they made their request, I try my best to be there for them because they have given me so much. And it's nice as a player when you're playing and you have the fans on your side and to be, rooting for you and lifting you up because sometimes in games you just need that as a player. You just need that. You need the fans to be a 12-man, and oftentimes, from what I know in my experience, both for Preston and for Stoke, I've had that. So it's an absolute honour and a privilege to make the fans feel the way they feel about me. And don't get it wrong, and don't get me wrong, it's hard work. Nothing come easy. I had to earn the right to play, to represent for the fans at Preston, and to earn the right to play to represent for the fans at Stoke. And the fans will let you know that, and that's why they're great fans, because rightly so. You know, fans will support a team or a player when they know that the player wears his heart on his sleeve. He gives every single week, he gives every single thing. Our fans appreciate that. And Preston and Stoke fans are no different, and that's why they deserve every weight in gold. Absolute honour and a privilege to perform for them.
What a legend he is. Always great to talk to him, and he's always happy to talk to us. Right, let's start to look forward again now, and the view from here at Euxton, looking ahead to the visit of Stoke City and starting with the manager, Ryan Lowe.
We look at the points tally, and yeah, we'd love more points, but if you look at it in hindsight and think, well, you might have drawn at Norwich, or you might have drawn at Bristol City, and that's only 2 points, but we end up getting 3 points. So, you know, for us to be away on the road the way we have been, and the travel's been relentless, but to be back at home, Deepdale, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, we know what they're about, but we've always said it's about what we do, and as long as we prepare right and we execute the game plan, then we shouldn't have no issues.
Yeah, we're all okay. There is a few bumps and bruises, of course, but you know, we've had them recovered as much as we possibly can. We'll limit the train today. We'll put all the information into them they need for tomorrow. And again, they've got another 24 hours to go, so I'm hoping we've got a fully fit squad to pick.
We've got a really good squad here, so I don't think it makes much of a difference who steps in for who. And we did continue to get clean sheets. I mean, we've picked up on the goal front now, that's a positive. So if we can get back to the clean sheets, continue scoring goals, I mean, it's a good mix.
If you want to come to Deepdale this weekend and you haven't got your tickets yet, they're on sale from the ticket office right up until kick-off. And if you get there early, don't forget the fan zone is in operation. As always as well, bit of fun and frivolity that goes on in there. Hey, did you think you couldn't go to Huddersfield Town anymore because the tickets had sold out? Well, just between you and me, they've got some more. So have a look, pne.com for all the details about those, and indeed for all tickets for future games. If you can't get to the game, I follow PNE, just like Callum Howson, who watches us from the Algarve, watches every episode of the weekend warm-up as well. And Callum said we should all watch all the previous episodes. And Callum probably said like and subscribe and turn on your notifications. Thanks, Callum, you're the best. Right, that's it for now. It just remains for us all to say, all join in. What do we say? Come on, you Whites!